Hey everyone, I am here with Chris Edmonds, the author of this fabulous book, The Culture Engine. It's an awesome book talking about the importance of workplace culture, as you know, a topic near and dear to my heart. I've got to tell you, Chris, one of my favorite lines in the book is, and I'm sort of paraphrasing here.
It's all right.
You talk about how a company, when an organization doesn't live their values, there's a scientific term for that. And the scientific term is what, Chris?
We call it a lie.
A lie.
Exactly. And again, a lot of organizations do it. They're unintentionally crafting this facade, but most organizations don't really understand the power of culture, the power of values alignment. And so they may have seen, some boss of theirs somewhere with values on the wall, right? So we need to do that. But it doesn't change the way the organization operates, which is not necessarily helpful.
Right. And what do you think is the leading cause of that disconnect? It's my experience that most organizations, most leaders pay lip service to the importance of culture. They say culture matters. They say their people matters. But as we know, actions speak louder than words and talk is cheap. So what is preventing so many organizations from turning those supposed beliefs into action?
My experience is that most leaders have never been asked to manage culture proactively. They are not paid or incented to manage culture proactively. There's engagement surveys, right, or morale surveys or whatever, but they've never had a role model. They've maybe never had even a great boss, which is an unfortunate circumstance, where they were able to observe a boss be as intentional about values and the way people are treated in the organization as they were about results. So one of my bumper stickers is managing results, good for you. That's half the leader's job. And then they're a little bit intrigued, right? Well, what's the other half, right?
You mean there's more?
There is. It is more. And it's the idea that leaders should invest as much time on the quality of workplace relationships as they do to the results. Because what happens is results improve, engagement improves, service improves, but leaders don't see their job as managing culture. And if there's this huge explosion, we call it an organizational heart attack, right? That if something occurs that gives them some undeniable data that the culture is not very healthy, they have no idea what to do. They have no idea.
Right. And so your book, what I love about your book is it's very solutions focused. You've got lots of assessment tools there. Yes. to assess the state of one's culture, and you've essentially are laying out a roadmap. So can you tell us a little bit about just how a company would, what is the starting point for any organization that wants to ramp up their culture and focus more intentionally on their culture?
Great questions. And the idea here is that you need to be as focused upon crafting workplace inspiration as you are, right, with success. And so the idea is, and it's my singular big idea, it's the only big idea I have, it's an organizational constitution. And that language is very comfortable for Westerners. But of course, we can go back to the Magna Carta, right? But the idea of crafting some rules that actually outline not just the performance that's expected, because we know we have to do that. Profits are a good thing, delivering on results are a good thing. But again, it's half the job. The other half is how do you craft a workplace where people are treated with trust, respect, and dignity in every interaction, not once a month, in every interaction. And that's customers, vendors, the whole kind of world of players that interact should be treated respectfully. And so the idea of an organizational constitution, there's 4 pieces. First is a servant purpose, which is a reason for being besides making money. That's an interesting place to go. And again, senior leaders realize that, making money doesn't necessarily inspire folks in the trenches, right in the front line. But that's an important piece. Yes, we have to be profitable. We have to make money. And the bigger piece here is the values and behaviors. What values do you want lived? And then since values are seen as kind of vague and not, quote, tactical, then let's define them in behavioral terms, because
Right.
that then becomes observable, tangible, measurable. Then you need to measure them, which is the align piece of this process. But in essence, you then add strategies and goals. So you've covered the performance side, you've covered the meaningful work, how we're going to treat each other side. So crafting an organizational constitution is the first step. And then the alignment phase is leaders modeling those behaviors, modeling that purpose, praising, encouraging others who are modeling those values, behaviors, and purpose.
Right.
And that's a longer process. But the reality is, and I work with multinationals, I work with small businesses, but I get right, the classic wonderful author experience, and you've had this experience where you get someone who says, I bought your book, I've tried it, right, with my team, and it's an 8-person team, and it works, right? We've got less drama, we've got more cooperation, we're performing better, people are nice. That is a fabulous, it's the most gratifying experience one can have.
Absolutely. I'm picking up on a few things you were saying, Chris. One of the things that came home for me in your book that you really, really do spend a lot of time on is converting those values, those words, into tangible behaviors and actions. So I really appreciated that about your book because, again, actions speak louder than words and talk is cheap. So you really do provide a roadmap, a process for helping organizations, for helping leaders to turn those values into observable actions. And you talk about the role, two things that I love too is, we talk about culture, you talk about it from the leadership perspective, obviously a lot in the book, and the importance of being a servant leader.
Yes, sir.
And you also talk, and I really like this jumped out at me, is you talked about how most companies don't define what a good citizen is, a good workplace citizen is.
Exactly.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because in classic Western organizations, right, the only God, and it gets bowed to every second, is results, profits, right, output. And so all leadership is trained, their only focus is, their only incentives for success is to build that output. And I speak a great deal about, if you're not sure how your team members see the business, go ask them what the purpose is. In their view, what's the purpose of this business? Right. Oh my God, are you going to be depressed? Because it's going to be, right, it's going to be, we make bumpers or we make money, because that is the series of messages around performance that have been reinforced. And so folks that actually live in the organization and are nice, are civil, follow through on their promises, they're kind of seen as a little bit weird, right? A little bit soft. Yes, they get, quote, the Employee of the Year awards, right? But there's not an organizational focus or thrust about everybody can be a good citizen. Why are we, my 3 Ds are, most interactions are driven by demeaning others, dismissing others, or discounting others. So that's the common norm of day-to-day workplace interactions. No wonder we're so frustrated, right? We're not excited at work. We're so thrilled to go out and go bowling or go run or go ride a bike for 20 miles or whatever. I don't do that. But what those outside the workplace things are what cause us to feel valued, appreciated, right? And that does not happen in the workplace as frequently. So the idea of, take a look around and see, you've got good citizens that exist. Now we're going to clone them, right? We're going to craft, in essence, and you're exactly right. The book is designed in almost a journal-like form. There's worksheets in the back of each chapter that say, so if you're going to do this for your team of 5, or you're going to do this for your region of 600 or whatever, you've got some step-by-step, phased, proven practices that can help you identify those benchmark stars. And you can take a look at good citizenship where it pops up, right? And then you, in essence, want to craft liberating rules that are going to say, this is how we're going to treat each other. We are going to, for example, if integrity is a value, we're going to do what we say we will do. What a surprise.
What a concept.
Absolutely. And there's such wonderful insights and discoveries that leadership teams that I work with come to, where they really get kind of enthused around how are we going to define respect. So it makes sense to these blue collar, right, truck drivers or whatever the mix of how your business gets done. How do we make those values not soft, not kumbaya, right, around the campfire, but actually relevant to positive relationships? And that's how you convert that, those flashes of great citizenship to, in fact, a universal way of behaving.
Yeah, relevant and meaningful. I was facilitating a leadership team a while back, and we got talking about some of their values. One of them was integrity. And as we started to talk about this as a group, it became very evident that the vast majority of leaders didn't even know what the word integrity really, really meant.
And if everyone interprets that integrity value in their own way, you're not going to get consistency, you're not going to get validation. It's a pain.
Right. So fabulous ideas in this book, Chris, and thank you for spending a few minutes to share some of those ideas, to talk about them. I highly recommend the book. I'll put a link below the video for where you can buy a copy of the book, The Culture Engine, Chris Edmonds. If you want to take your culture to the next level, ramp up your culture, because we know culture drives results, then buy the book.
Michael, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Chris.